story time and some conversations today. And I'm talking to my mothers. My mothers are black and brown boys all over the world. And I actually have so many in my circle. And so many of you, you're struggling today. You're having a hard time this week. I remember my youngest son, he'll be 18 in just a few days. And maybe a year ago, I sent him to the ATM to get some cash because he needed some money to get his hair cut. And while he was there, he called me and he said, "Mom, I'm at the ATM." I'm like, "Okay, good." He said, "And there's a cop standing over there." And I said, "And?" He said, "I don't know what to do. He may think I'm trying to steal something." And I had to coach him through the moment because he hadn't done anything wrong. He had my card, he had my passcode, he's at my bank. And just the presence of a cop made him anxious. And this is not a young man who gets in trouble, never been suspended from school, yada yada. I can go into all of that. He's never been a problem child. And so he doesn't have those types of experiences. But he already had the experience of understanding that I don't have to do anything to be a target. And my oldest son, who is now 30, 29 or 30, I can't really remember, y'all. And he got his phone. He got his first phone when he was 10 years old. And at that time, that was a big deal for a 10-year-old to have a phone. People were like, "Why are you getting that boy a phone?" I'm going to tell you why I got my son a phone. Because at that time we lived in North Carolina, he had been accused, he and his friends were accused of doing something. I don't even know whether or not they did it. But I do know this: they got chased down by a white man in a car. And he didn't have a way to take a picture of a license plate, to call me, to do nothing. Only thing I knew was that I had three boys in my house, age 10 and 11, that were out of breath and scared. Scared because they didn't know if one of them was going to get caught. If all of them was going to get caught, who do you call? What to do? And the problem is that our boys don't know what to do. And here we are as mothers of these black and these brown boys looking for ways to keep them safe. And even particularly from slavery, we've been taught, or we've been indoctrinated in how to keep my son safe. And then it used to be about keeping sons safe from the overseer and keeping sons safe from the master, from the slave owner. But today, it's about keeping him safe from what is supposed to protect him. This is a different one. Well, I don't know what to try to keep him safe from other than safe from getting killed. And so, I want to first, I'm not going to ever negate the power of prayer, but I also believe you got prayer, got to have some action with it. And so, black mothers too, and mothers and black and brown boys, I want you to be honest about your anxiety and know that your anxiety, it can show up as rage. It can look like fear. It can show up as tears. It can show up as hypervigilant parenting. And knowing that parenting from an unhealthy place is from unhealthy emotions, it is never going to produce the balance that you want your son to get from you as a mother. So don't pass down that trauma and don't pass down that fear. You get to feel it, but when you give it to him, you give him something extra that he has to then try to do something with, that he got to try to dispose of, that he got to try to ignore, that he got to try to heal from, that really ain't his. It's yours. The other thing is, right now, particularly right now, I need for you to limit your social media in the news. Make a conscious decision about what you're going to read, particularly locally. And after that, stop. And yes, you do need to read the local news in case something pop off in your area. But if you keep consuming that, you are going to give yourself some stress, and you may even become insensitive because you're just so used to seeing it and so used to hearing it. And you don't want either of those. Okay, so you're going to have to set some limits for yourself. And yes, someone just wrote, it's a different experience. Yes, Sharifa, our narrative is different. It is different with our sons. And let's just go ahead and call it for what it is. And we keep calling it police brutality, and we call it black on black crime, and we call it all these different things. But I want to call it for what it is in the house that you live on a daily basis. Because I know some mothers that this is killing mentally and emotionally. Speak life into your son. And I'm going to tell you something. Don't tell your son to be an upright man when you steadily bringing deadbeats through the front door. And I said it just like I meant it, the door. You cannot tell him who he needs to be and call him king, call him prince, and try to instill something in him. And then you, in turn, continue to have these poor relationships and bring these poor examples in your own house. He gonna see what you do and not what you say. So when you speak life into him, let your own life be an example of what it is that you want to see in him. And people will say, well, I don't have good men in my neighborhood. Y'all, come on. Let's not pretend that there are not good people with good character who are in neighborhoods that are less desirable or who that have low wealth. Just because a neighborhood has low financial wealth, it does not mean that there is not an abundance of good character and integrity there. Because in order for that to be true, now what that means is that good people, they live in more well-established neighborhoods. And that's not, because they some fools that stay over there. And let's call that for what it is. Find men within your community to point out to them, to draw their attention to. It's not just speaking life into them. Let them see that there are men around us that are actually living upright. And be honest with him. Be honest with your child in an age appropriate way. Because, those videos that are circulating right now, all kids don't need to see that. But be honest with him about what's going on in the world. There was something that I heard from a perpetrator long time ago. I got a long history in social work in the mental health field. And there was a perpetrator who said something, and I never forgot it. And he said that an ignorant child is an easy child. And so you need to educate your child about what to do in certain situations. Yesterday, when my son asked me, what could George Floyd have done differently? You see how I just went silent? I didn't really have an answer. We talked about how you can do your best and you still may not get the best result. And this is where the anxiety and the stresses come from that mothers of Black and brown boys are experiencing. There are not necessarily easy answers out here, but be honest with him about what it is that it is out there. And then, yes, give him some options, because there are some in situations that do work out. There are situations that our Black men get into where it does work out, where he is able to watch birds peacefully, where he is able to play in the park, where he is able to go skateboarding with his friends and come home safely. And so tell him how to handle those situations just as much as the other ones. How many people, I'm sitting here having these conversations with my son about, be sure that you set your pictures to go straight to iCloud in case someone takes your phone from you and you trying to record, we'll still have evidence for it in the iCloud. I don't want to have those types of conversations. I don't want to be trying to tell my child how to secure exhibit A and exhibit B. But those are the conversations that we're having. And so I want you to be mindful, mother, that you are going to be told that you are crazy, that you are aggressive. You're going to be told that you are doing too much. Someone else is going to tell you you're not going to be doing enough. And You want to keep your son from committing crimes, and then you want to keep him from being a victim of a crime. Just remember that those belief systems, that ain't your battle. Your fight is about keeping your child safe. And so quit trying to fight against a belief system and believe in your ability to mother your child the way that you can. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Love your sons. Love them. They are worth every good thing that you can put into them. And just know that the messages that you are getting, that this is not a reflection of who he is.